Hey there. So this reading is inspired by my freshly redone astrology oracle. If you've seen my readings before, you may have seen me use this oracle bucket. And the little energies that were in the bucket were getting kind of worn out and tore up and wrinkled and looking kind of ratty. And so I spent some time on this lovely Sunday just redoing them. And it was just something like meditative for me to do. And I enjoyed it very much, and now I'm working with a fresh set of the oracle. So we're just gonna take a look at a message from Spirit about what's going on, a reading about your energy and what you're going through, and maybe we'll get some advice cards too. Okay, so maybe we'll call this an honoring of your energy though, and we'll just kind of feel it out and see how it goes. Representing your choices, we have these little chunky books. They belong to my 18-month-old granddaughter. However, I did have to confiscate them from her because she really likes to destroy these kind of books. Here's a remnant of another one. And there's more where she has actually chewed the binding. I mean, practically took a bite out of it. So no more of these books for her until she's a bit older or until we're sitting together, but they're not in her toy box anymore. So we're just here sitting next to me, piled up on the counter, awaiting my next moment where I could find where I wanted to store them in the meantime. And they seem like a better thing to use than the scissors, turmeric bottle, and roll of toilet paper I almost used. So, you're going to want to take a deep breath because this is a general reading. You want to use your own intuition to decide if one or more of these piles has a message for you. And I'm going to ask that as an energy exchange, you offer some interaction with the video if you're watching it and you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you know, obviously there's a dislike button. You can comment or share, or just go along and like my Facebook page if you want to talk about spiritual topics and whatever might be interesting to you. Maybe if you have questions about the reading or just whatever you're inspired to do. But I'm setting the intention for this reading to reach all of those who it can be beneficial to. So if you found yourself here, I expect it will be beneficial to you too. Thank you for your time, and we're going to have this says pick 1, pick 2, and pick 3. We'll start the reading with pick 1. Alright, those of you who chose pick 1, I'm gonna dig around in the oracle in a very gentle manner so I don't mess up my new oracle as much as I did my old one. I had that bucket and I used it during the summer at a few festival type things and parties. And because I was in such a hurry, I was doing like 15-minute readings. I just kind of went rough on the little tickets. And I think that's how they got so messed up. Plus just reaching in the bucket so many times. I mean, there were days that I did like 8 hours of readings, 9 hours of readings sometimes. At 15 minutes of reading. You know, you can just do the math for me. Math is not my thing, this is. Let's see. Let's get a message for pick one, please. So far we've got Gemini. I'll put this down here. Virgo. So Gemini is communication, it's seeing all sides of a thing, and Virgo is paying attention to the details. Virgos can be very pure, perfectionist, and be in service. We got Philia, which is brotherly love. That is also the name of an asteroid. You see the number on the ticket is the asteroid number. And then we've got transcending. I'm going to get some more information to see about what Spirit's trying to tell us. I think that's just minimal information right now to start speculating. Okay. So you saw the details of something, perhaps through a conversation, or your mind put the details together. And I think it was happening in a friendship. And once you put these details together, there was some type of ending. There was some type of tropos. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say it was an ending to a friendship. Because as you kind of paid attention to the details of it, you realized in some way it was no longer serving you. It did serve you for the time period it was in your life, but you started to see something that you just couldn't unsee, and it was about whether or not you were compatible. Okay. So we'll just take a deep breath while the water pump goes off. Whenever the water pump goes off, it reminds me to be very grateful. Grateful that I have running water. Grateful that I have electricity. Here we've got life of the party. Okay. So I think you had a lot of fun with this friend, and you maybe were introduced to a lot of chaos, right? And I think for the time that you were involved in this friendship relationship, it was divinely guided. Like, it felt right. It felt like the thing you were supposed to be doing. Maybe if you do follow spiritual guidance, there were signs and symbols that let you know it was good for you. But it was also that you got signs that it wasn't good for you anymore. And I think the issue was pride. The issue was that the friend had a pattern, perhaps that you've already transcended in yourself, but the pattern was that they were living for somebody else's ideals. And while they wanted to live for those ideals, you were no longer compatible because you no longer wanted to live with those ideals. And it may have caused a lot of chaos for you to walk away from this friendship. But you just got this glimpse of something, and then you couldn't unsee it, and it changed the way you feel. And although you'll always be soulmates with this person, your time on Earth, at this time, you're experiencing a separation. We've got a time period here of 4 to 5 months, so that may be the time period where this has been unfolding for you. It may have taken 4 to 5 months for you to fully realize what you were seeing. And from the first time you saw it to the time where you could no longer ignore it. You also got 5 days, so it could have happened within the past 5 days. And I think there was a lot of drama in the parting of ways, like a lot of drama, grief even. I think it was very sad for one or both parties. This prideful thing was left over from other times, like you had transcended it because you had experienced it, perhaps even in another lifetime associated with Atlantis. But letting our ego lead, we learned in Atlantis that letting our ego lead doesn't take us to good places, that it's best to not let our coping mechanisms, which are designed to keep us to dealing with fear, designed as a way to keep us from having to experience fearful things, and also provide us a room to become arrogant in. Being guided by those things are not very beneficial, and I think you knew this. And even though this was a difficult situation for you, I think you had to walk away in faith and just understanding that this is how it is. You got human design here, so if you're not familiar with human design, you might benefit from looking that up. Okay, human design is an experiment. It's about recognizing the way certain energies work within people, and there are 5 categories on how energy works, and there's a certain percentage of people that have each category. And if you operate under your design, you get different results. So some people really benefit from looking at that energy from that angle, and this is talking about that being beneficial to you. And now I'm getting unitus, and so I believe that the reason that that's going to be beneficial to you is, what's coming to mind is that one of the categories in human design is called a projector. And a projector's design requires them to wait to be invited. And I also have the projector design. And it's definitely true that the projectors are the wisdom keepers, they are the advisors, but not for everybody, just for the people who notice them. And so if they offer advice without being asked, they are usually rejected. It doesn't mean that their advice wasn't good advice, but it may not have been good advice for the person they were offering it to at the time they were offering it. The people who know they will be well led by a projector will recognize the projector's energy and ask. Now, projectors also have to wait to be invited for all major things like jobs, marriages, dates. So this can be frustrating for a projector, because even when they get certain invitations, it doesn't mean that every invitation will be right for them. So they also have to decipher which invitations are right for them. So, but say you were a projector and you didn't know it, then coming together with the right people would be more difficult, because the projector will become bitter after they are not recognized for a long while, if they're not happy in their lives. And finding out this information really changed my life, and it is why I focus on making my life the most enjoyable it can be, all by myself. Like, when I am not serving others, I'm serving myself, and I am serving my family, and I'm just doing things that I enjoy. I'm doing things that make me happy. I'm doing things that make me feel free and good and connected to Earth, and a lot of creative energy, you know, is running through me at times when I'm not serving or guiding others. And so finding out about human design really helped change my life, is the point. And they must have felt it was relevant for me to share that. Yeah, so you want to come in contact with people where it'll be a loving environment, where there'll be a mutual love. And it's kind of like this is the time that you're due this. And anywhere that you haven't removed the restrictions for this will be highlighted at this time. So that's why this relationship, the friendship that wasn't working out for you, had to end at this time, because the Saturn return energy tells me that all restrictions will be highlighted and responsibilities will be highlighted. And so if you've been taking your responsibilities seriously during the period prior to now, you will be rewarded. So the experience you had with the people or the person that you had to part ways with was fated, and that was a timeline that you were meant to experience. And just by alchemizing what you did in the area of pride with your own free will, you had to use your own free will to do this, you cleared that timeline. So you've opened yourself up to new possibilities and new opportunities that were never there before while you were living in that timeline. And this was the time to do it. If you had felt a lot of pressure, if it just became unbearable, that is why. This is the way energy works. That Saturn energy is going to make sure this happens. You know, if you hadn't made the decision, things were going to get a lot harder. And you may have suffered a lot before, you know, you finally made the decision or it was made for you. Yeah, wisdom gained. So this wisdom that you've gained from living in that loop, that fate loop, that timeline, will be useful for you going forward. You've integrated a part of yourself that now understands what pride does. And you can't unknow that now. That's part of you. It's acknowledging that you may be a skeptical person, you know, that you like to question things and that you like to experiment with things, and that this experience may have left you feeling quite jaded because you don't feel like you've been served the fruits of your labor yet. And I think that's why this reading is being shown to you at this time, because I think Spirit or your guides want you to know that this is meant to happen. This is how it was meant to happen. And it is sad, and you can mourn the loss, and you can honor yourself and all the emotions that you have about what's happening. And it's okay to be skeptical, and it's okay to experiment with what you're learning. But that you have gained wisdom, and that is the fruits of your labor. And so being jaded about the situation will only keep you stuck in the remnants of that timeline when it is actually cleared and no longer valid for you. You may be getting messages and signs through your animals, animal spirit totem messages, and you're going to be feeling a lot more like opening your heart, being brave, being bold, expressing yourself, maybe even being romantic and childlike. And if you stay in this energy of being jaded, instead of taking the wisdom that you've gained to move forward, you will be off your path. And you can choose to go off your path, but that's where you'll be until you decide to process what you feel, the anger, resentment, or sadness, the bitterness that you may be feeling about things not working out. It's understandable because maybe you felt like you put a lot more in than you got out of that situation. But it will balance out. You will come into contact with people who can be on your level, who can be reciprocal, and can understand you, and who are not operating under pride. So I think that you will find that it's a beneficial move that you've been through, and with great respect and honor for an understanding that it is also difficult at the same time. Okay, pick one. Just kind of taking a moment here to be with you in that energy and to honor you and your process. Okay, that sounds like there were some difficult things that you had to notice about people, and I kind of want to throw in that it's important that you really think about what led you into that situation, what allowed you to be in it, and really glean the wisdom from it. Like, what was it that made it okay for you to put up with that kind of relating, like, for the time that you did, you know? And the reason why I say that is because they just reminded me of my own situation where I learned that my value was higher than how I was letting myself be treated in a lot of relationships. But when I was led by Spirit back towards some of the people who had betrayed me, I was willing to forgive so freely without even an acknowledgement or an apology from them. And what it made me realize is I hadn't gleaned all the wisdom. I had only said, okay, yeah, I understand I am worth more than what they're giving me, so I need to walk away. I understood that. But what I didn't understand is that it doesn't mean that I have to sweep it under the carpet later when they have paid their karma. If they don't glean the wisdom from their experience of karma, meaning they experience the other side of the energy, that when they betrayed me, they get betrayed. You know, that's how it works for anybody. I'm not saying like I did it to them or God did it to them. I'm saying when you betray people in general, you will carry the energy of betrayal and you will be betrayed. And so even after being betrayed, they did not change. They did not offer me apologies. They did not have remorse or regret or think twice about how they had treated me. But I was still willing to take them back into my life and to go forward. And I guess because I enjoyed them and I loved them, and you know, and it's like, well, Spirit wanted me to realize that they will just do it again if they don't even value me enough to apologize. You know? So that's why I say it's like, make sure you get all the little bits of wisdom from the situation. How are you going to operate now that you know what you know about pride and about people who operate with it? You know, what are you going to do differently going forward with the wisdom you've gained? And take your time with processing this, right? Maybe when you're needing a break from processing, maybe that's when you'll do a little research on human design, or you know, something like that. But compatibility is, you know, we can love people that and then realize we're not compatible with them. I didn't really think it should be true in my little fairy tale world when I started my journey. I thought if I love somebody, that's who I should be with. But that's a fairy tale. That's an idea I was sold on by television or movies. Really, compatibility has to come into it, right? Is this person, do they share my same goal for the future? Like, are they wanting to grow and learn through the process of relating together? Are they willing to take back all their projections and look at themselves instead of playing the blame game or power struggles or shaming or gossiping or any of those lower density things that fall under pride? You know, are they willing to integrate the parts of themselves that will be shown to themselves through our relationship, like I am? You know, those are the people that I'm compatible with. So you have to find out what your values are and what's important to you in response to what you've learned from this situation. Okay? Okay. And you may have already known this. So this is just like a pat on the back, reassurance, like Spirit's way of saying, we see you. You got this. You're doing it. We understand it doesn't feel great at all moments. But it will feel great. It will be worth it. This is an important thing for your journey forward. Okay. Obviously, if you were here from Atlantean times, you know, you've been around a time or two. So this is probably pretty easy for you to integrate when you allow yourself to do so. Okay, so when there's a part of us that would rather stay jaded and angry and feel like a victim to the situation, that's a part of us that needs love too. That's a part of us that needs validation and understanding too. Because as children, there was a lot of times where we were put in situations where we had to accept something we didn't like. And there's a little angry part of us that feels victimized by that, that feels angry by that, that wants to cry, that wants to stomp our feet, that wants to dig our heels in. And if we don't get that part on board with us, then the whole process gets a lot of drama. And we drag it out and we get stuck. Okay? And then we don't hear our guidance. And we are skeptical that it's even been for a reason. So because you were guided into this situation, you may have felt very skeptical of your guidance now. But they're trying to say you were guided in because there was a karmic pattern that needed to be seen and healed, and that's what you've done by parting ways. So glean all the wisdom you can from the situation before you move on, because there's loving people for you to unite with that will work on the same level that you're operating on, that will be compatible with you. Because of this situation, because of what you learned, because of your clearing the timeline so that you don't have to live it out anymore. Okay? Okay. I'm going to leave that reading there. And I honor you in your process. Pick one. We'll see you next time. I picked two. If you chose this middle book, this is your reading. Just going to put that right there. And I'm gently in my astrology bucket. Oh, we got Metis. Metis, very wise. Did you know that Metis was actually the one that advised Zeus? You know, I had been studying the Zeus energy because there's a lot of karma that I agreed to help clear that was tied to Zeus. He put a lot of curses on women, and, you know, he was a 2-timer or 3-timer, or I don't even know if he had any limits. But he had dealings with Hera and Aphrodite, and there were a lot of curses put on women. Like Aphrodite was cursed that she could only use the power of love. And also there was a time where he fell for Aphrodite and sent her on this journey to keep Hera, his wife, from taking vengeance on her. But anyhow, there's a lot of karmas that I had agreed to clear in this lifetime that were associated with Zeus. So I had done a little bit of studying about Zeus. And Metis was actually his advisor in one of his incarnations, where she helped him overcome his enemies. And so I thought that was very interesting. She was very wise, and he didn't trust anybody really, but he did trust her. And when he realized that she could help him, he joined forces with her, and she was his advisor. And so here's we've got the energy of healing. And so I kind of want to say you've been healing a trust issue. Okay? You've been gaining wisdom through the process of healing a trust issue. That you may be a very wise advisor, and possibly very, very intuitive. We've got a water sign here. Water as the element is present here. And we have faith. So I think you have found it a lot easier to walk in faith because of all the wisdom you've gained. You have learned to trust yourself. Ah, yes. Yeah, looking at Metis and Zeus as just counterparts. You know, if you trust yourself, then you can trust another. And I feel like that you've definitely learned to trust yourself. And you've done this by accepting all the parts of yourself, even the parts that made mistakes, even the parts that failed. You know, if you accept those parts of yourself, then you trust yourself to have your own back. Because who else is going to have your own back? We've got Pandora. So I think that you've stepped into the unknown, where you don't know exactly what is to come, and you're going with faith that whatever it is, you can handle it. I love that. The story about Pandora is that when Pandora's box was opened, hope was the only thing that stayed in the box. And I like to say that we want to use faith over hope, because hope is the energy of wishing for something. So if you're wishing for something, then you're in the vibration of noticing that you don't have it. And so if you are in the vibration of noticing you don't have it, then you will always notice that you don't have it. You have to have faith to actually accomplish receiving and going forward and having the results that you wish for. And this has been a long process. You have been on this journey for quite some time. We've got 10 plus years here. You are an oracle. You probably read tarot or oracle cards as well. And you are a very devoted, committed person. You may be married. Very unconditionally loving, which you know is the energy of unconditional love. And I mean unconditionally loving of even the darkest of parts, even the underground, even the, I want to say the nastiest of nasty, you know? All the dark parts have been loved by you. And you walk in truth, and you do this with your free will. It was your choice to love those parts. It was, I'm sure you needed to go against a lot of stigma and a lot of expectation and a lot of people who didn't agree with you that it was acceptable and lovable that you had experienced anything dark or the darkest of darks. But you have healed. You have chosen to apply your unconditional love to all situations and to be in the truth of it. The truth of the matter is that we are all created by Source, and we are all equal, and we all are able to redeem ourselves from any darkness that we encounter. That's why we're here. I think that you are adept in the craft. You are able to use magic. You understand magic. Maybe you do water magic, like maybe you're definitely like programming water and using that to manifest. It's kind of interesting because I'm literally sitting here with my feet in a bucket of water with Epsom salt and essential oils. And I've put my intention into this water to just help me cleanse and purify as I do my work. And I did drop one of my tags in the water after the first reading, and it's over yonder sitting here drying, and it's transcended. And I put a new one in to replace it just in case you needed that one too. we'll see what else comes out for you. Wow, yeah. I think you're quite an old soul, been around a while, maybe experienced things, these things on Earth from a lot of different angles, because we've got Oshun, and I believe that's an African deity. Some of the darkest of darks that you've accepted is betrayal, right? And you've been able to shine a light on things like betrayal. And Ra is of the Egyptian times, so you're also around for that cycle of the energies. So I think that this is why you have this ancient wisdom, because you've done this before. You're walking in faith, and you're here with Christ consciousness in your heart because you've done this. This is what you came for. You knew, I guess just like me, that you could alchemize the darkest of dark, that you could love everything. And we've got Earth Angel. Yeah. You know, maybe it's like you came here as an Earth Angel. You've worked with many Earth Angels that have helped you along your path, but also you are an Earth Angel, or you're working to be an Earth Angel. You are guided and assisted along your path by those that are working with the angels, for sure. We got the time period of 5 days. Let's see what that is. There's some sort of prediction that's happened in 5 days, where there's going to be some sort of opposition to your commitments. Maybe there has been in the last 5 days. Lamia was punished. Lamia was punished for Was she the one who was punished? What was she? Oh, Lamia is the darkest of dark. There's more dark. Okay. Yeah, okay. And very interesting. I'm gonna, we'll see what that's about, but it's just my water pump. We'll just take a little deep breath while that's going off. You got human design, so you may want to look up and implement the rules for your design. You may already understand and know about human design, but it's a way to utilize the energies that you have for better results. And we've got South Node. So because you've tried and utilized these energies in a lot of different scenarios, at a lot of different times, in a lot of different places and cycles, that it's your choice now on what you want to do. You're kind of like a free range, right? You can escape a lot of that, the ways of the energy working for you, by utilizing your human design. And it's just because this was the time to do it. There wasn't another time before now to do it. Timing matters when it comes to this. We've got 4 to 5 months now, and free. I'm just asking Spirit, what are all these time periods and all this? I just heard you have 4 to 5 months to kind of play around a bit and get more comfortable in where you're at now before you address a new set of things. Yeah, things will be a lot smoother for you right now so that you can get comfortable in utilizing your energy with your free will the way you choose. Human design is just a suggestion. We've got Themis, which I believe is I think it's an asteroid that signifies judgment and law. And illusion, 5 days. Okay. So, something is going to be made more clear to you in a short period of time here. And it's something that your soul came to experience, right? It's something else your soul brought in. So you've traversed a lot already, right? You've gotten to a really good spot. And there's still something that your soul is wanting to clear up, and it has to do with commitments and marriage, perhaps, in opposition to that. So your soul's opposition, something in your soul that hasn't yet quite caught up to your commitments that you made before you incarnated here. Yeah, that's not what I thought I was going to say, but that's what came out. 1 day now for time, okay? So within a day to 4 to 5 months, you may be shown. No, within a day, you're going to be shown something that is rather dark, right? That's lower density. You'll notice it right away. It'll be something that your soul wanted to address. It'll be something that you had an illusion on before then, and that you can work through fairly quickly so that you can take your peaceful time. Okay. If this doesn't sound true to you, then don't take it, right? Don't take this if it's not true to you. It sounds very specific, and also it's not meant to be daunting or scary, right? I mean, the darkest of dark is like, who knows what that could be. It's not meant to be scary. It's certainly something that you can handle if your soul came to address it in this lifetime. And you're addressing it on Earth, and it has to do with the lack mentality. And it has to do with, you're already doing it. Okay? You're doing it under an illusion right now, but it's going to be made clear to you on what you're doing exactly very, very soon here. Okay? And you're going to see it different, and you're going to maybe want to break out of the lackful way of addressing it. Like maybe you've been doing it all along, but you've been doing it from a lackful mindset because of the past, because of your soul's experiences in other lifetimes, you know, when lack was the way that it was expressed and experienced. And now it's kind of gone under the radar and you've seen it in a way that's not actually the way it is. So you hadn't recognized that it's a lackful way to see it. And it's going to be revealed to you, but it's something you've already been doing. So don't feel like you can't handle it, or you're going to be thrown off kilter, or anything like that. All that's going to happen is you're going to be made aware of something that you're already doing and what you can do to release yourself from the lackful parts of it. And this is going to be done by revisiting it. You're going to revisit something. So it may be something, oh, and I laid that right on betrayal. Maybe something that you've already looked at in this lifetime, and now it just needs to be looked at again from a different angle, which will be revealed to you. And this isn't because you missed it the first time, it's just because this was time. And you're so good at this that it's not even going to be a big deal, I don't feel. And then you're going to be going through that time period where it's a lot more easy, where things are just like a trine energy, just working with you easily. You may be getting messages through animal spirit totems. Oh wow, I didn't even know I had a wild card in there, but there's mystery about this too, right? You still don't see it exactly for what it is, but you're doing it already, you're surviving it already. When I say the darkest of dark, it's because it's dark because you can't see it. It's dark because you can't see it. It's in your shadow. Doesn't mean it's darkest of dark because it's nasty and brutal. It means it's dark because it's in the dark. Okay, and you're just going to be shown a different view of it. And if you do astrology, you might get some clues in your sidereal chart. Look for the trines, and look for the oppositions, and look for the oppositions to Juno, specifically, and maybe Pandora, and also Pythia, and Themis. Okay. So after that, you're going to feel a whole new way about things, and you're going to see things a whole new way, and then it's going to get a lot easier from there. Okay? So you're going into this with much ancient knowledge, much experience about how to alchemize and clear and transcend. You know how to use your free will. You know how to use magic. You know how to heal. You're very wise. You have faith. You have unconditional love. I mean, you can't get this wrong, right? It's like you're just going to be, your awareness is going to be expanded even more because something else that you brought in as a karma that your soul wanted to resolve is going to be revealed to you to resolve. It's like it feels like just like your daily life anyway, right? But this is what the reading is talking about, and I think it's a lot to do with just letting you know that they see you for who you are, and don't forget when this is revealed to you that you're still all these other things. You're still the wise old soul who has free will, unconditional love, faith, and the ability to heal and do magic. You know? Yeah, you're just setting the scales straight so that you can take some more time with your freedom to enjoy for 4 to 5 months or so before maybe you begin another cycle. Okay? Wow. That sounds very interesting. I honor you and your process and where you are. Pick 2, and I'm going to end your reading there. I picked 3. If you chose this 3rd book, this is your reading. I'll put this over here so we can get started. Okay, we got 10 plus years. So we're talking about a long cycle here. Next we got Ara. This is another what's the word I want to look for? I don't think it's a god, but it's like Ares, but the female version of the god of war. Eris and Ara. From some sort of mythology. And then we got Trine. So I feel like things have gotten a lot smoother. Things that were very chaotic and warlike, right? But there's a lot that's unclear. You maybe have had to traverse a lot of hidden enemies. I can relate. But you've cleared so much karma at this point that things are just like smooth. I can relate. Like even hidden enemies are just like whatever. Like same. So this is interesting. Maybe this is my pick. Okay, so you got Aphrodite. I talked about her in the first reading, interestingly enough. And it would appear that you've cleared some karma of Aphrodite. And I just talked about doing that myself in the first pick. Okay. Yep, we've done some alchemy. So Aphrodite's karma was that she was cursed, right? And so Zeus put a curse on Aphrodite that she only had the power of love. Like, and when it came to war, her only weapon was love, right? And if you might think like, well, what's wrong with that, right? Love cures everything. Love is everything. And it's like, well, yeah, that seems all good and everything until you experience it, because I can tell you what I had to clear by clearing my portion of what I came to clear about Aphrodite was that Her curse was that any man who looked at her in lust or in love would become obsessed. And I don't necessarily think I had full-on obsessed men, but I definitely had lots and lots and lots of unwanted advances by lustful men. And there may have been men mixed in who actually did have love for me, but I would not have been able to distinguish them from the others because I was so overwhelmed. So any man who looked at Aphrodite in lust or love would become obsessed. So the way that I had to clear this was just to like deal with and love the parts of myself that were dealing in lust and love. And it's interesting because I was just having a conversation with my sister, and I told her that I kept having lust come up in my cards about as something I needed to clear. And I thought maybe I had a grudge against lust because I was blaming lust for the reason that my partners cheated on me in the past. But then, through talking to my sister, I remembered that as a child, when we visited my grandfather, he had naked girl posters up on the wall, like girls spreading their legs. And the posters were on his wall in front of his bed, and like maybe on his ceiling too, I'm not sure, but definitely on the wall. And I was maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, you know. And I can remember very clearly my mother being so disgusted and just like saying, "Don't look at that, that's dirty." Like, because we had to go through my grandfather's room to use the bathroom at his apartment when we visited. And so at that very young age, I was implanted with a program about naked girl bodies being dirty, you know? And that's a lustful kind of thing that these girls were doing in the posters, right? They were evoking or depicting lust, like spreading their legs and showing all their intimate parts. So that is where the root cause was for my issue with lust. And even though I was able to heal the experience of having lustful men come towards me in such a manner where it was like, for the time period that it got my attention, I was having like 7 men a day that I didn't know come towards me, trying to talk me up and call me beautiful. And this was like on Facebook, you know, they're just looking at my pictures on Facebook and saying these things like, "Hey, beautiful," and like, just, I mean, see, even the part of me who's telling the story wants to say just gross. Because I just feel like it lacks something. It lacks respect for me. And I really do feel that, but I don't believe that it's wrong or anything for those girls to have done what they did. That's their choice, and just because I don't choose that for myself, and also I don't have the body that would make me want to choose that for myself, I don't think. But I think even if I had that body, I wouldn't choose that for myself. And maybe part of the reason that why I gained weight is because I didn't want men to look at me in that way anymore. I don't enjoy it. I wanted to like help protect myself and ward it off in a way. And so I'm just kind of unraveling a lot of this as I talk about it right now and do this reading. So you may be able to relate to some of what I'm saying here, but this root cause of my judgment against lust is what will alchemize this for me, okay? And this is talking about that exact thing. Clearing the karma of Aphrodite has to do with clearing the judgment against lust. Because clearing the judgment against lust is how you alchemize lust for Aphrodite. And then, once the judgment against lust is cleared, then you can see past lust, and you can see what is lust and what isn't lust. And then when someone loving come towards Aphrodite, she can see that clearly too. And like I said, the problem was that I couldn't tell the difference between lust or love because they were all just coming at me, and it was overwhelming. And I never put together the realization that part of me wanted to put on weight to protect me from that. That's so amazing right now for me to realize. So, let's move on to see what else we got. We got integrity. Integrity is being in line with your own values, right? And my values say that I don't want to have lustful relationships, not because it's wrong, it's because I don't choose it for myself. Because my standard is that I have a value and a desire to be connected with one man on a committed, monogamous, traditional manner, you know? Okay, now we've got Lamia. Lamia is a very dark character who, I believe she like ate her children and things like that. She's kind of like a Lilith character. So here's a couple darkness. These are all dark women here. We got Hera, the female version of Eris. Aphrodite, who was, you know, she's the goddess of love, but also had that issue with lust. And then Lamia was known for eating children. But then Selene, the White Moon Goddess, clears all the karma. So I feel like you have taken on a lot of the responsibility for clearing karmas of Lilith type characters. Lilith is the darker side of women. Lilith is a strong, independent woman who can probably be misinterpreted quite a bit in this time, you know, of being alive. I think this has caused you quite a bit of stress over the years, you know. Not only dealing with the energies of this, but also being judged for it. I think definitely people... Oh, what's this? This got left over from the last reading. I think people just, you know, hold a lot of stigma and judgment for these type women characters. Where I've told you, you know, I'm not holding judgment for women who pose nude. A lot of people still do, right? Fullness. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. Once you've seen what you see about this, you can't unsee it. And you are looking at the root causes of things. Just like I explained to you how I found the root cause of my judgment against lust was from a time, you know, in my childhood. Yours is also rooted there, and you are, once you see it, you can't unsee it, and it kind of snowballs and gets bigger and bigger until you can't ignore it. And this has been the process you've been going on for a lot of years now, and so now it's a very smooth process for you, right? You may be doing this a lot behind the scenes where no one even realizes what you've been doing, clearing karmas like this. You know, maybe you let them whisper, you know, but you're not really like talking about it with them. You know, I mean the people around you that may have judged or may not have judged. For different people it will be different. Yeah, of course we got Lilith here. First we got healing though. Yeah, you are totally healing these patterns, not for just for yourself, but for all women. You know? And it's like once you saw it, once you knew that this is what you were doing, that you could just alchemize these, you just wanted to do it. You just wanted to get it done and be over with. But just like I told you that I had to do some layers of this Aphrodite thing, and I'm just now, like a couple years after I dealt with the lust issue on that level that I told you with all those men coming towards me, right now I'm getting to this level of, oh, I realized the root cause. And this was just like a conversation I had like 4 days ago where I realized that. And so this is a step-by-step process. The layers came off as they needed to, because I still needed to hold one level of that energy to fulfill my obligation to other people that I would encounter, right? So it's the perfect timing to take care of it now. It's a step-by-step process, even if I did want to get it all done at once. Even if you do want to get it all done at once, this has been a step-by-step process. And we've got 3 to 4 years. Oh, isn't that funny? Because that's the period of time it's taken me to clear the Aphrodite karma. Here we've got Lilith, right? Just like I said, you're alchemizing Lilith. Lemuria. You're using the wisdom that you had gained and brought in from Lemuria. Lemuria was a time where we were operating under higher standards, you know, and a lot of integrity. And I think that you've had your share of fun, right? And maybe that is what puts you in these situations where you were viewed as a darker woman, or viewed a lot of patterns of darker women. Like what comes to mind is partying and putting the kids with a babysitter or something, things like that, and just like kind of experiencing the underbelly of what's here on Earth. And it's been kind of like a constant stream of unfolding, a constant stream of seeing things and seeing more things, and expanding your awareness more and more on all these topics. This is very fascinating. I mean, who was going to do this, right? We needed somebody very brave, and actually someone very pure, willing to come in and experience these darker things and alchemize them. So I really do honor you. And some of the things that you're having to do is go into that feral kind of urge and look at what those things are, because we can't eliminate those things, right? Our urge is what guides us to why we're here on Earth. So the urge can't be eliminated. And some of what Lilith is just her urge. She's just following her urge. She refused to be put in a box. You're gaining justice, and you're being guided, like as you have to go down into these darker places and experience these things and see them in this lifetime in order to alchemize them and heal them. You are being guided. You have help. You are a healer. This is why you came to do this. This is what you're equipped to do. We've got 6 months now as a time period, and 10th house. You'll be known for this. Your reputation is absolutely 100% playing into this. You will be known for this, for alchemizing Lilith, for maybe known for Lilith traits, but certainly known for healing Lilith traits, for healing what people think about Lilith by being an example of the highest version of what Lilith can be, which is a woman who follows her urge. I mean, if we're going to grow and learn and not stay in boxes and evolve, we need our urge. You're not afraid to go into the dark, go into the underground, the underworld. That's where you find the root causes. And it's been part of your hopes and dreams, and it's played a big part in your friendships. You've probably experienced a lot of deception in your friendships and a lot of the darker side of women. I know I certainly have. But you're equipped to always look at the higher meaning of it. What is this showing you? Like, you know? And then from finding the higher meaning of it, you go at it with a fresh view. You go at it like a fool. Like what? You're willing to talk about it. You're willing to go into it from an angle that others aren't. And you can see into it very deeply. You can see into people very deeply. And you're able to advise the people who ask. And I think there'll be even more people who are asking about it in a very short period of time. We've got 1 day. So, some more women who may be inspired by the understanding that you've been able to alchemize these energies, may be inspired to also ask you for advice. So you may actually be already set up as a healer, and you may be coming into a time where you're helping women with these kind of issues. And they're going to need to use their free will to do so, and there's going to be a lot of unknown factors still that we can't fill you in on this reading, because you're writing a new story. You're creating what's next, you know. You are free. You are free because you alchemized these things, and now you're equipped to alchemize others. You can't fall back into the pattern. You've already done it, right? It can't be unseen and it can't be unalchemized. You are an example of what it is to alchemize these things, and that is built into how you operate now. You're a very spiritually led person, and you may start to feel a whole new way about this whole process and this whole, you know, all that you've learned and the wisdom you gained and the power that you gained back from doing this work. Wow. Just going to take a deep breath here while I honor you. And I thought, after that, and while I honor me. Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. I'm going to end your reading there, and perhaps we'll see you in another reading in the future. Thank you.